Welcome everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ernest on the Go. And today's episode is a little different. Today's episode is in response to Michael Gannotti's challenge question. His question is Facebook and SharePoint integration a good thing? And I would like to use this time to give a response to that question. And hopefully add to his discussion, give some thoughtful insight. First off, I do not think that Facebook integration with SharePoint is a good idea in most circumstances. And here's why. I think that unless a company or organization is using SharePoint, wikis, and blogs, and my sites already, then I don't think that they would find much value adding, if they're not using those services, I really don't see how adding and just using Facebook would be a good idea. I think it would be kind of scary, actually. So, given those pretenses, and also you have to ask a couple other questions. What's the size of your organization? You know, how are you actually using SharePoint? If you're not using the social aspects of SharePoint, there's probably a good reason for that, and that'll be your reason not to use Facebook. Also, another consideration would be, are you using SharePoint on your internet-facing site? And why are you using it as an internet-facing site? Maybe a company profile, Facebook, would be a good idea. Or some type of one of the departments within your organization or groups could have a Facebook profile on the internet-facing SharePoint site. That might be a good idea. But you have to really examine why and what you're using your internet-facing SharePoint site for. Also, let's say again, you're not using my sites, blogs, and wikis. If you add Facebook on your internet-facing site or internally, well, especially if you're using it externally, what SEO benefit is there to using Facebook instead of using maybe another blogging platform or using a different third-party application or having a custom web application with the inside of your SharePoint internet-facing site? And I really don't know enough about Facebook's SEO to make a definitive judgment on that. So if anybody has some insight as to how SEO friendly Facebook is, that would definitely be a weight factor. But if you do have an internet-facing SharePoint site and Facebook's not going to increase the SEO of your internet-facing site, I'm sure there's solutions that would be much better and solutions that the company or department or organization would have more control over. Also, there's a question of security. If you have Facebook integration with your SharePoint site and somebody has an application in Facebook and there's a virus, and is your SharePoint site protected and your company's data protected? That being said, those are my reasons not to have Facebook integrated with SharePoint. That being said, there is an emerging trend out there And companies are changing. Organizations are changing. No longer is it a chief and a bunch of little Indians listening to the chief and going about like little IBM drones, ones depicted in the 80s. Today's economics are different. Today's social relationships are different, and the way people communicate and do business are different. I personally think that there are other profile sites out there a little bit better than Facebook. I think if you took Facebook and Blogspot and kind of combined them together so that you could take what you liked out of each service and create your own site that way, I think that would be phenomenal. So I personally do see a lot of drawbacks to Facebook, and it's not really one of my favorites. But that being said, there are just too many people on Facebook connected already through Facebook to ignore the benefits of using Facebook and using SharePoint, my sites, and blogs and wikis, and kind of trying to find some way to merge all them together and do something really creative. I think that there's a lot of potential out there. I also personally wouldn't want advertisements on Facebook running through my intranet for my company. But that's pretty much my argument against having Facebook integration with SharePoint. I do think that in certain circumstances it can be done in a creative manner. However, en masse, I don't really see it being that practical. I think there's a lot of other tools out there that are better, and maybe I'll discuss those at a later date in another episode. With that, I'd like to thank Michael Gannotti for issuing his challenge and putting it out there and doing all the great work that he does with video on the go, from his phone, from Quick, and his blogs. And with that, it's time to go. Gotta go. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.